Hi, it's really fun to read your sensory descriptions, and I hope you had fun writing them, and tasting and smelling and touching and looking. It's probably also fairly difficult to do these descriptions. Rita mentioned that, and you are right, Rita. It is difficult, but you did a great job being descriptive. It's hard to be descriptive because it's easier to rely on concepts and judgments. Those are actually shortcuts that the human brain uses. It's hard to slow down and look at how richly nuanced the world is. You knock on the object, it seems to have something inside. It's not hollow. We don't usually slow down enough to actually notice. We rush through life. And it's really important with art to slow down and notice what it feels like when you hold it in the palm of your hand, because art actually speaks to you first and foremost physically. Artworks are physical creations, whether they're paintings or sculptures, weavings, ceramics, whether they're dance or music, they speak to you through your senses. And so to understand them, you have to start there. And you don't want to short circuit the sensing. You don't want to short circuit that by leaping to concepts, because often you will find that those don't apply when we're talking about artworks from other times and places which had different concepts. So I really want to emphasize that this was very much about lavishing attention on every subtle quality, which is what Nichelle does so well, and many of you did so well. Sight. It's a rather thin circular shape, smooth on the bottom and quite bumpy on the top. This is excellent description because it is precise and specific. You will hear me talking about that again and again when you're writing about art. Are you being precise? Are you being specific? Are you being thorough so that when you think about the initial bite, it sounds crispy, but then, as you chew, the object breaks easily and sounds quieter. So notice how it unfolds. This is a great description. Touch, it feels almost like sandpaper. So bringing in those sensory comparisons to other things. And look at how, this is wonderful. If you were to put it back on its plate, you'd feel some crumbs and oily residue left on your fingers. This is very rich in the actual direct physical experience. That's what we're working on here. And I want you to continue to keep that as a central part of your art historical response throughout the duration of the class. Very soon, when you dive more deeply into the textbook explaining what is art history as a discipline, you will see them talk about sort of 4 ways to cut into a work of art in order to dissect it. And the first thing is to begin with an assessment of the physical properties, which is what you were doing with the sensory investigation exercise. And then you'll be dealing with visual or formal structure, which comes in with the formal analysis work. So when you get toward the end of the introductory chapter, they're going to present to you a case study of this painter Rogier van der Weyden's crucifixion painting that's in the Philadelphia Museum of Art. And you'll see that they'll start with physical properties. And they're going to use the same kind of precision, specificity, and thoroughness that Nichelle and your other peers used. So they'll talk about how it's divided into separate tall rectangular panels joined by a frame. Notice how factual they are. There is a way in art history that we start with the objective qualities before we go to the subjective. Most people who are trained to respond to art actually think you're supposed to start with the subjective. I like it, I don't like it. Instead, I'm asking you to start with the objective elements. So here, for instance, the fact that this is on wood is one of the objective elements. Look at their descriptive language, where they talk about the formal structure of this painting. It is at the same time one painting in two. Continuing across both panels are the strip of midnight blue sky and the stone wall. that constricts space within the picture to a shallow corridor, pushing the figures into the foreground and close to the viewer. The shallow strip of mossy ground under the two-figure group in the left panel continues its sloping descent into the right panel. In other words, they are being as descriptive as you are learning to be with the food. So notice that this exercise in analyzing using your senses food, it was playful, but it was serious play. In fact, that is one possible definition of art. Art is play, but it is serious play. This painting is a great example of that. So keep thinking about these. Please send me questions. If there's something that just didn't kick in for you, let me know. We'll play with it. We'll see how to get it to open up for you.